Hello, thank you for watching this video. It's a proposal that I'm looking to put forward to the ESMBA for changes to the England squad and England team selection, and it involves introducing a new event that will be run by the ESMBA called the Interzone Championship. This competition will sit above the current Inter-County Championship. There are no changes to the Inter-County Championship proposed in this. The Inter-County Championship will continue to run its current form. The only change that I would like to see with this, as opposed to the Inter-County Championship, would be that the winners of the Interzone Championship would go forward and represent England at the top team championships. That is currently something that the winners of the Inter-County Championship do, but again, that's not be all and end all with this proposal. If that ends up being something that doesn't happen, that's fine. I would still like to see this Interzone competition come in. So, why bring in something new? There is definitely a need and a want at the moment to improve the England team. We have an England team at the moment that have only won the British Isles Team Championship on two occasions now, 1992 and 2011. And I think that goes to show that the current way and method of picking a team is not working. We finished third this year, which is disappointing really when you compare the amount of players that we have available to us compared to Wales. Yes, Ireland are always going to be the favourites in the short term, but I don't buy into the argument that they are the best and there's no point trying to compete with them. We need to be looking at ways of how we can improve what we do in England, and I know actually Ireland want to see that, because at the moment they feel that the British Isles is a bit of a possession for them. When they won the event this time just gone very, very comfortably. So we need to change that. We need to be competing against them. We need to be getting the best and preparing ourselves, preparing players to go to the championships better. Let's start thinking of this from a more professional angle. So, the actual proposal would see 4 zones created. They would be the Northern Zone, the Midland Zone, the South East Zone, and the South West Zone. The country will be split into 4. There would be a manager each of these zones appointed. They would be appointed by the ESMBA, by the manager. They would be responsible for picking the players to represent that particular zone in this inter-county, inter-zone competition. There would be 4 get-togethers in any season. So either every zone would host a one-day event, a Saturday or a Sunday, that all the other zones come to, or you find a central location where everybody goes to. So, ESMBA, I know, are using Daventry, so that could be a good starting point for the first year or two anyway. This would replace England weekends and England days, so there would be, with this proposal, there would be no days on the calendar for England days or England weekends. The only one that I think is on the calendar that would look to stay would be President's Weekend or President's Day, where I would like to see that be an England select team as opposed to an England squad of 52 players. It's too much. So let's park that for a minute. That could be a discussion point at that time. So as I mentioned, the managers would be responsible for picking the teams for their particular zone. The teams will consist of 4 rinks or 4 players, so 16 players in total. That mimics the British Isles Championship, and I would see us playing exactly the same format that they play in the British Isles there. So players are getting used to playing in rinks, playing across 4 rinks as a unit, as a team. On any particular match day, they would be playing against all the other 3 zones. So they would be getting 3 matches on any particular day, 12 ends. So every player would walk away that particular day having played 36 ends of bowls, but they would be meaningful matches played at a very good level and would be mimicking what they would be experiencing in the British Isles Championships. For me, that's the only way you're going to improve and you're going to be prepared when you go to the British Isles Championships. So, as I mentioned, it sits in above the Inter-County Championship, so players can still play for their counties. These will not be on weekends that are the same as Inter-County matches. So if a player was lucky enough to be picked for the South East zone, they would still be able to turn out for that particular county. I have got a breakdown of what counties fit into what zone. Again, it's a discussion point, something that could be agreed, but ultimately it's been split quite evenly. And I would hope to see that this would get more players from the northern zone playing, really. I think we miss a big trick in England where we're very concentrated on the southern counties and counties from the Midland area. We need to look at the country is very big. We've got the whole north that we can look to get more players from. So let's look at that. And in terms of when these matches would be played, so I mentioned there's only 4 Saturdays and Sundays when these need to be played. I would see 2 of these get-togethers before the British Isles Championships that are played in November. So, first match day would be in September. The second match day would be in October. At that point, then you have the British Isles in November. Then we're looking to the new year, January, February, the last 2 get-togethers for this particular competition. The zone managers, as well as picking the zone teams, would also sit on the England selection panel. Who better to advise and work with the England manager than the people picking what would be considered to be the top players for their zones. So they would sit down after every get-together, look at who's playing well, who's performing well, who's not performing well, why, and look at that. That gives the England manager a lot more feedback as to what's happening, and then he's getting feedback, and he can see for himself or herself who's playing well, and would be able to make a better judgment on the team. So, for me, going back to players playing for the counties as well, with this particular setup, I know currently England players have to make themselves available for a considerable amount of time to be considered to play for England. Now, I believe that's one of the great hindrances that the England team's got currently, is that players need to play so many inter-county matches, all these England weekends, days. It's too much commitment. Some work, that balance that you need to have. So for me, being able to the minimum that players would be expected to do would be to play in the inter zone. They wouldn't have to play for their counties. Yes, I'm sure some counties don't like the idea of that, but let's be honest, we can't say to these people you have to play this and this to play for England. It's okay for those that can do it, that can afford to do it, at the time, haven't got families, are retired. We need to look at what is going to best balance here, what is going to get the best 16 players out. For me, committing to 4 Saturdays or Sundays plus the championships over the course of the season is the minimum that I would say people need to speak for themselves for. So that's the reason why there's 4 get-togethers there. What Ireland do with their British Isles team, so we've just had the British Isles Championships. Their international selection panel will be sitting down if they haven't already done so, and we'll be looking at where they've got gaps in their team for next season. So they are already looking and already know that they're looking for a lead for Ring 2, they're looking for number 3 for Ring 4, and they're actively looking for those players now. At the end of this season, they will have put together their 16, and in the summer, they will announce their 16 for the championships in November. So they are way ahead of the curve on this, and that's where we need to be. We need to be looking at getting ourselves to that level. So I've mentioned that we'll have 2 of these zone competitions, zone get-togethers before any British Isles Championships. That's great. That's all fine. At the end of that second, that's when the England team would be picked and would be announced. So in the October get-together, ready for us in November. And moving forward from that, after year 1, I would like to see that actually once we've had the British Isles Championships, the zone managers will get back together with the England manager, look at how the British Isles went, and then start looking at the team for the following year. Bearing in mind you've got two more zone get-togethers in the new year, where again any new combinations etc. could be tried out from the zone point of view, or any new players you'd like to bring into the zone could come into it. I do see this as 5 people working together on making the team strong. So I think that's covered off pretty much the bulk of it. This would slide in, no impact on ICC, other than certain players might choose not to play county if they get picked for their zone, which should not be frowned upon. It's an opportunity for other players to show their worth in their counties. So any queries or questions that you've got around this proposal, let me know. I'll answer your questions. I am more than happy to answer any question around this, reasoning behind it, why I think it's an improvement. I hope by what I've explained here that you can see that it's got to be the way forward for the team to function, to be more competitive and more successful when we get to the championships. So thank you for your time, and as I say, any questions or queries, let me know.